Let's proceed with our lesson 2, which is all about characteristics of living organisms. So here I am going to present to you 7, and there are actually others, no, nga characteristics pa, but I'm going to present to you here just 7 characteristics of living organisms. First one is what we call the evolutionary adaptation. So let us define evolution and adaptation. Adaptation is the ability of organisms to cope up to various changing environmental conditions, while evolution tells of how organisms adapt or perish over the course of time. Okay, so kaning evolutionary adaptation sa organisms, no, it always involves the law of nature, or what we call the survival of the fittest, where it states that the strong shall live while the weak no, shall perish. So common na to siya madungog before, kaning the strong shall live while the weak shall perish. Well, actually the strong shall live, or the more adapted, no, the more organisms nga adapted sa sudden change in the environment, maupod na sila ang mas survive, whereas ang katong dili maka-adapt or dili adapted sa kanang sudden change sa environment, sila ang mag-perish. Mao gina siya ang pasabot ani nga statement, no? For example, bacteria, no, so ang atong baba is puno og different kinds of bacteria. So, for example, na infestation, no, nag-cause siya og tonsillitis. So, ang mahitabo, syempre ikaw naturally, ang imong buhaton is mag-take og antibiotics, no. So, katong imong bacteria sa sulod sa imong baba, no, kasi klase na nito siya. Nana siya yung mga different bacteria nga napod siya lahi-lahi pod nga mutations. So, na siya lahi-lahi na ng mga ability to adapt, no. So, kung kintahay, no, naisa din ha ka special nga bacteria nga naa siya mutation nga mag-cause sa iyaha para dili mamatay maski mo inom ka og antibiotic, then that specific bacteria or kana siya nga population, small population of bacteria, mo na siya ang mo survive, mo na siya ang magpatuloy, mo kunuhay na siya ang strong, no. So mo na siya the strong shall live. So pag inom nimo sa imong antibiotic na matay ang dako nga population sa bacteria, so wala na to sila, no, nawala na sila gyud sa process of evolution. Katong nabilin nga na specific nga mutation nga nag-cause nga nung dili sila maapektuhan ato nga antibiotic, mo na to sila magpabilin sa imuhang baba, and of course kung mo daghan pa, then they are going to reproduce. So, mo na po silang mag-continue. So, ang tawag ana is evolutionary adaptation. So, once ang isa ka thing naga-exhibit aning evolutionary adaptation, then you can call that a living organism. Alright, let's proceed. Next is response to stimuli. So, our response to stimuli is a special ability of organisms to react to changes in environment. So, the stimuli or stimulus is any change in environment that causes a reaction. So it could be loud music, or sudden loud clapping, or even sunlight, or air, or changes in temperature. So mo ni siya ang mga stimuli, or di ba? And then pag ang isa ka butang imong butangan ana nga specific nga stimulus, for example, clapping of the hands, no, kusgon kayo gud mo siya, no, tapos mo react siya, either moduol siya or mapalayo or just movement, then you can say that that thing is a living organism. Kaya maski yung saon nimo og palakpak atubangan sa table, dili mo na siya mulihok, di ba? Dili pareha kung palakpakan nimo or mo palakpak ka sa dalunggan sa imong pet, mo react siya, then that is response to stimuli. So that is just an example. Plants also can do that, di ba? Plants na imuhang katong pinaka-sensitive, makahiya imo siyang i-touch, then mo close up ang iyang leaves, no? So kana siya is another response to stimuli. Another is plants nga gibutang nimo sa shade, and plants nga ibutang nimo sa sunlight, di ba? Ang stem or ang kanang pinakatumoy sa stem sa imuhang plant, magsunod gyud siya sa sunlight. So that is another example. And there are so many other examples. Next is reproduction. So reproduction is the ability of organisms to produce offspring and pass their genetic composition to the next generation. So syempre, once we have reproduction, no, makabuhat ang organisms o another nga organisms from their genetic nga material. So that is reproduction. Dili man pwede nga kunwari kani example nato ang penguin ni siya muanak siya og kanang parihag ng sa snake. No, ang iyang reproduce is syempre na same nga features sa iya, such as beak, eyes, and then some flippers and other nga characteristics, no? So ing ana ang reproduction. Next is growth and development. So there's a difference between growth and development. So growth is the increase in parts and size, while development is the increase in function. Anong dili lang man enough ang growth, no, as a characteristic of living organisms, because some non-living organisms such as minerals could grow, pwede sila mudako, no, because of some chemical reaction. Pero non-living matter cannot develop because development is the increase in function. Habang gadako ka, naga-increase po ang imuhang pulos, no, sa imuhang mga body parts. Example, ang brain, no, ang brain sa baby gamay, 'di ba? Syempre pag mudako po ang atong brain, that is growth. But development is kanang habang gadako ka, naga-increase po ang function sa imong brain. So naga-increase ang iyang reception to hearing, to seeing, to speaking, and other things like that, no? So kung unfortunately nayuban nga brains nga naga-grow, pero ang uban wala dili fully develop. Mo po na sila ang lahi na case, no? So mo na siya ang kalahian sa growth and development. And growth and development should come together once we are talking about organisms. Next is metabolism. So metabolism is a complex series of chemical processes taking place in an organism. So we have two types: the catabolism, which is the breakdown of organic substances, and anabolism, which is the opposite of catabolism, because it is the building of the micromolecules to complex organic substances. Let's go back. So, tapos na ako sa pa-explain, no, sa two types. So, katong example kaganina sa digestion, sa katong pag-breakdown sa ato ang food, that is of course catabolism, and katong pag-build up sa protein sa atong muscles, you call that anabolism. So, that is metabolism, which non-living matter or non-living things cannot do. Next is homeostasis. Ang homeostasis is the ability of organisms to maintain the right pH, temperature, and electrolyte concentration. So, dito mag-focus akong example sa temperature. Now, ang atong lawas, we have a natural tendency to keep everything imbalanced. So, ang atong lawas na siya yung specific mechanisms para ma-maintain ang ato ang bodily functions, no, para dili ma-damage ang ato ang cells, atong organs, and other parts of our bodies. So ingani ako example is we run, di ba, pag mudagan ta, we expend energy, no, naga-spend ta og energy, atong ginagamit ang energy, and most of the time once ginagamit ang energy, ang iyang byproduct is heat, and pag mudagan ta, nag-iinit ang atong lawas. However, our body needs to maintain a certain body temperature, about 37 degrees, around 37 degrees Celsius. So, may tabo is, pag mudagan ta, nagataas gamay ang ato ang temperature. So, pag mutaas gani ang temperature sa lawas, mahitabo sa ato ang mechanism sa atong lawas nga gina-activate niya ang ato ang mechanisms for homeostasis. So, ang mahitabuan na, yun na ko i-detailed kaayo kayo, mas complicated to, basta kaya nga niya ang mahitabo. No? So, kumudagan ta, muinit ang atong lawas. No? So, in order for our body to lower down our temperature is produce ang sweat. Diba? Mapansinin mo, pag pag mudagan ta, mungit itong lawas, sington ta. Because sweat is the natural mechanism of the body to lower down our temperature in the surface. Para mo-cool down ang atong lawas, dili ta mag-overheat. So that is just one of the many examples of homeostasis, and which we can do and other organisms can do. Okay, so diri na sa organization, no, ang atong body or ang body sa tanan-tanan, no, even plants are very organized. So gikan sa organism, such as a plant or an animal or a human being, syempre pag mababa ta, no, that is we are all composed of our different organ systems, and these organ systems are composed of different organs, and these organs are composed of different tissues, and then the tissues are composed of different cells, and the cells have parts, small parts in there, which we call the cell organelles. And the cell organelles are made up of macromolecules or biomolecules. So it could go either way, it could go up or down. Actually, basta kay gikan sa simpler forms, no, gikan sa imuhang macromolecules, pasaka ka, you can see the organization of life there, right? It's very organized from the most from the simplest form up to the complex form. So that's it. That's organization. Alright, so if you're going to continue the organization of life, no, dahil naman takotob ko ganina sa organisms, no? So, diri sa ato ang, what do you call this? Diri sa ato ang makita nga image, no, magsugod ta sa atoms, which is the basic unit na sa chemistry, no? Sa isa ka matter, it's the atom. Then, magkumpul-kumpul siya, it will be joined together, and it will form molecules. And very important molecules are the biomolecules. We have the carbohydrates, the lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. So these 4 biomolecules, magkumpul-kumpul siya, or mag-bond sila together to form organelles. Organelles are the parts of the cells. No? So, organelles joined together, you are going to have a cell. And then cells of the same nga type are going to join together and form tissues. And the tissues, different types of tissues, are going to form together and create organs. So, such as the leaf. No? And this leaf is just one part, and then it is going to form organ systems, no? And then the organ systems, imo siya i-combine tanan, and you're going to form organisms. Organisms, i-join mo together, same type of organisms, same species, you're going to have populations, and then populations of different kinds of organisms, i-combine mo sa non-living na mga entities such as air, water, earth, and many other rocks and other things. You're going to form communities, and then communities join together, you're going to form ecosystems, and ecosystems, different kinds of ecosystems are the composition of the biosphere. So, ato na siyang ipakita dali sa mas klaro, di ba nga, definition. So, molecules are chemical structures that are composed of 2 or more atoms. Muna akong example kayo nina. Organelles, parts of the cells which are responsible for function and integrity. Then, organelles are going to make up cells, which is the basic working and structural unit of an organism. Cells of the same type are going to form tissues. So, cells group together and forms a specialized function. Then tissues, different types of tissues joined together, you are going to form an organ, which is a part of an organism which is made up of a group of tissues. Then organisms are made up of organs and organ systems. They are called, or they are also defined as individual living species. Then populations, individuals of a species living in a specific area. Then communities, variety of species inhabiting a specific area. then ecosystems, biotic and abiotic factors in an area, and the last one, the biggest part, is the biosphere, consists of all the livable parts of the earth. No? So, how na-explain ko may ang kalahian sa population and community? Ang population, these are made up of organisms of the same species. For example, population of dogs, population of cats, population of humans. So, this is a group of organisms living in the same in a specific area, and they are of the same species. Whereas ang community is the variety of species inhabiting a specific area. For example, sa inyong balay, ako, or sa barangay, population of humans nag-interact with the population of cats or dogs. Kaya nasa na yung mga pets. Namiragay nga na siya ba? So, one population and then interacting with another population, and then you call that a community. Then, ecosystems is a combination of biotic and abiotic. Once we say abiotic, it has life. Abiotic doesn't have life. Siyempre kita, dito pwede mabuhay nga walay tubig, walay hangin, walay gitanatama na yuta. So, kana siya, we are the biotic factors. Ang atuang ginahagap na hangin, ginainom na tubig, are abiotic factors. So, once we interact with that, no, sa dako nga scale, you call that ecosystem. And the livable parts of the earth are what we call the biosphere, the biggest one. All right. So I think that ends my presentation for today. I hope that you learned something out from this lecture about introduction to life science. I hope that you're going to enjoy this quarter and you're going to enjoy life sciences. So that's it. Thank you very much and goodbye.